All right, so this is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Long Beach Building Commission. We'll call the meeting to order at 1:10. Thanks to my computer knowledge. Roll call. Joe, you guys are gonna have to tell me because I can't see. Joe, I know you're here. Bob? Pete?
We lost Bob LeMay. He's gone.
What the heck? Is Pete there?
Yes.
Is Lou there?
Yeah, he's here. I'm here.
John Coker?
Here.
Joy?
Here.
Me. Anybody else have trouble with this thing today? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we
Okay.
can hear you.
All right. I don't know what's going to happen here. Hopefully I'll be.
For some reason, when Bob LeMay popped off the meeting, the Zoom made Becky Lempa the host for some reason. I'm not sure if Becky can hear me or not, but I saw it pop up that it made Becky Lempa the host.
Yeah, because Bob is the host. It's the Long Beach thing. Can everybody else hear me? We'll walk through this and then. So for the approval of the minutes of the January meeting, I was not there, so I've looked over the minutes just from what Lou gave me. Any additions or corrections?
Larry,
Yeah, Joe.
I wasn't there either. So I probably shouldn't speak a lot, but I had tons of questions. And I don't know if it's even worth going through them all on their minutes. But I guess, you know, the minutes are the minutes, and that's what they did. But I don't agree with a lot of it, but that's beside the point. So I'll keep my mouth shut, I guess, is the best approach. And then some of these things will pop up in our February meeting today.
I make a motion to approve the notes, Pete.
Okay, Pete. Do we
I'll
have a second?
I'll
Go.
second.
Joy. All right, I got my stuff printed up here. So for the approval, we still have to do it by Joe Jagman.
No,
Joe can't vote. He wasn't there.
Bob LeMay, is he back on yet?
Yeah, I'm back. I approve of them. You're talking about the 114 minutes, right?
Yes.
Good, okay.
Pete by votes.
Yes.
John Coker.
Yes.
Joy Schmidt.
Yes.
Okay, that carries 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5-1.
Larry, Joe can't vote. He wasn't there. He wasn't at the meeting.
Oh, all right.
Well, he can vote. It just probably.
Well, it doesn't mean anything.
all right, I'll take.
I'm not sure why he would.
All right, let's not argue. I abstain.
Okay, now I can see you guys. I don't know what happened. All right. Commissioner's report.
Do we have any meeting minutes from 126? We had a special meeting.
You know what? I didn't write those up, Bob. I'll have to write them up from last
Okay.
meeting. I mean,
All right.
I can, you want to just wait till I write them up?
The only thing on there that I want to be sure is we did say at that meeting that we were going to contact Mr. Mendoza, the contractor that get the gas line. Did we ever contact him?
I tried to get him a couple times and there's no answer.
I'll try him again after our meeting. I think I have his cell phone number here.
Is this time to make a comment about that meeting or not?
Well, yeah, go ahead.
All right, I think we accomplished things at the meeting, but I don't think we're finished because I think we should get into some detail of what the procedure is going to be, when the suspension takes place, and what he can or can't do now. And does he finish what he's doing and then have the suspension? I mean, a lot of different questions. I don't know if we should have a meeting, but I'm just concerned about, and then after the 6 months of suspension, then he's going to have the other 6 months. Is there anything in particular that's going to be done? Just some details on exactly what we voted and what we agree on.
Pardon me. I think it's best if we wait till I put those minutes together.
That's fine.
And then we can all look at the same thing, even if we have to have a special meeting to do it, because I did not bring those home with me. Pardon me. I don't know what's going on here. My technology's bad. My cough's bad. Anyway, so in January, we had 7 permits with construction costs of $148,954, which generated fees of $1,806. We received 90 calls on permits and or information requests. And Lou, you got your site visits?
Yeah, I had 59 visits and 12 inspections.
Okay. Any questions or comments on the commissioner's report? Okay, moving along. Stop 18. I'm just going to have to, especially now that Tim's part of the group over at Town Hall, I'll just have to go over and sit with him and have a conversation to make sure that we're on the same page. Sorry, guys. The 2216 stairs, Chris and I talked earlier. I was actually thought I had removed these because they're working on stairs that will be metal instead of wood. The 1612 Indianapolis, Chris is that's still in the lawsuit category, so we really wouldn't have much to comment about.
Yeah, I have nothing to update it. If you have nothing on your agenda with regard to this, what we've kind of been doing on a parallel basis of resolving them submitting, I'm moving forward and they have an answer due, and that's how I'm considering it. So,
Okay.
Update from there.
Yeah, I think that's great, Chris. 2007 Oriole, the Cleary project. Yeah, he went to the BZA. Now, I just got the minutes from the BZA yesterday, and they have removed him from the docket. I don't know if it's called a docket, whatever you call it.
Agenda.
Agenda, because he failed to provide the proper information for 2 consecutive meetings. I don't know. That's something we may want to consider at some point, doing the same thing. But that being said, we just can't seem to get everything all together. I shouldn't say we. The site plan came in, but it was, there was no lot lines and whatever on there. So I talked to Roger Potratz earlier, or end of last week, and I'll probably meet with him next week and just go over everything that we need to have in order to get this thing moving. Pete, I know that there was some discussion, and Bob, you and I and Pete, I think, had discussions, not together, but at different times, about what happens with a fire situation like that. And the one thing that is in the ordinance is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Pete, if you have lost 50% or more of the value of the home, you start at zero. Is that what you understand, Pete?
That's what I understand.
Okay.
Could I say something, Pete?
Well, let me
I don't think it actually says that, Larry, for a fire, because I think there's a special ordinance, and Chris, I think you even brought it up one time. There's a special ordinance that doesn't talk about the percentage of loss. It talks about you could rebuild if you don't increase the lot coverage or the height or the volume. I think that's the ordinance we should be talking about. Chris, didn't you look into that one?
Yes,
Yeah,
there's
Chris.
a provision in there that addresses that non-conformance and that exception being built out.
Right. So the 50, I don't think the 50% applies in this situation. But the issue we have is what are the prior dimensions?
Yeah, that's long gone. The house was completely burned up. I mean, not completely, but there was very little left to do any measurement on, unless Chris Cleary has any documents on that. But even at the point of where the building commission goes from, I think it's best if we get all the information. It's just come in piecemeal. I don't know if you guys realize this has been going on for over a year. And it's, the information dribbles in, but it's never complete information all at once. So I think maybe Chris, if it's all right with you, I'll get with you maybe next week just for a little bit of discussion about what we should do as far as 50% and whatever. And then I'll get with Roger and see if he's got Chris getting all the information. He did bring the septic permit in.
Okay, a couple things for the with the 50% is something that really has been, it's not in our ordinances, it really applies to kind of state ordinances or how things are handled. But our ordinance specifically talks about, it's 154.135. And it says, a non-conforming use, building, or structure located in a residential district damaged by fire, casualty, or act of God may be restored, reconstructed, and used as before, provided that the size of the first floor area of the building, the height of the building, or the volume of the building may not exceed the size of the building prior to the damage. So that's what we need to go by. That's the one that applies here.
Yes.
That's right. And this is Chris. I 100% agree. And that 50% that I think we're confusing here, and Larry has correctly brought it up in other scenarios, that is where we have individuals that are saying, hey, this is a rehab, and it's really a new construction, right? That's
Right.
that's in the international building.
Yeah.
But what Pete just cited is what I believe Joe was alluding to, and that's exactly what would give the difficulty was be that the onus is going to be on Mr. Cleary to show what was there to your satisfaction. And then you're, as long as they comply with everything else, you're in a position to allow them to build without the need of a variance as long as they're within those parameters. But they owe you. The bottom line is getting back, and it's the same thing that we dealt with at the BZA level. We're not getting all the information. So you're spinning your wheels and carrying something on your agenda that there's progress.
Right. And that's why I'm hoping that Roger can get the stuff together. I can even sit with him and show him what he needs to get.
Okay. Let me just throw out the other two things. And I think Joy brought it up a meeting or two ago is, where's the driveway? I don't even know if they have the driveway on the diagram. And so the driveway and any walkway. And the other interesting question, and I didn't delve into it too much, is to the east of his property, which would be where the side of the house is, the garage. There's an alleyway, and how do some of those particular ordinances play into when there's an alleyway? Sometimes that affects the side setback.
Well,
Okay,
on the drawing that they provided, there is no, in terms of square footage, there is no allowance for the driveway. There's no allowance for the walkway or any other. It's just a house, period. And with the house that they put on the lot, they're already at 34%. And just a rough estimate says we got to add another 550 square feet or so if for a minimum size driveway and just a walkway. So that's the stuff that has to be brought back. And the thing that applies is that when I think Chris talked about it, is when they build this house, they now have to conform to all the existing setbacks. It's no longer a non-conforming. They get to build on it, but they have to conform to all of the requirements for a new house. There's no grandfathering in this one.
Is that unless they can show us what existed there before?
Yeah, if they can, yeah.
Okay.
You know, we have the old survey, and it shows the old house on it, and this might have been something that went to EPA, but their new house, you know, their old house was in the setback. The new house is not in the setback, but the new house is much larger than the old house.
Okay, and it's right now it's a non-conforming lot, but because it was originally platted, they get to build on it as long as they satisfy all of the current zoning ordinances.
But we've already sent this to the BZA. He's let it lapse at the BZA, so I don't think we have anything to do until he finishes up whatever he's doing at the BZA.
Oh,
I think I can get to the bottom of some of it between Roger and myself. Roger Potratz is the architect. And then, he can go back and sit with Chris and tell him what he needs. It's just I think we've told him 3 or 4 times what he needs. It just never seems to get done. So at some point in time, if we can't get the information, we're just going to have to take it off until they can get the information.
I would take it off now.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Can I get in here on this? This is Chris Cleary.
Hey, Chris.
The lot size. First of all, Roger redid those prints, and I dropped those blueprints off 2 weeks ago. So, I got a call that, get the print, the house on the lot, and I did, and I dropped 4 prints. Roger redid them all, and I'm under the 35%. That's what I was told to do. And Roger, we reworked it out, so I'm under the 35%.
Okay.
So I can't give you something that, everything that you guys told me to do, I redid it and I brought it in. So
if
when
I
I say that go ahead.
Can I give you an example, Chris? I'm looking at what you guys sent over, and he does have numbers. This is Joe Jogger. All right, Chris, and I'm just giving you my opinion. I always throw out my 2 cents, and it does have a number, but the question is, where is that number coming from? And then when you look at what he's calling, let me just finish. We want to see the math. How did he add? What's the dimensions of the house? And then the other things we've asked about, we don't even see a driveway on his plan. And we don't see stairs, concrete stairs on his plan. So I think what Larry suggested would be the best thing is if he gets together with you and Roger and everything, and we need details. That's what we don't have.
Okay, those prints that I dropped off 2 weeks ago, did you see those?
I have it in my hand.
So do I.
Okay, the front page of that, it says what the square footage of the house is, what the square footage of the lot is, and it has the percentage on the very first page of that.
And Chris, I agree. We all see that. Where did you get? There's a number, 2,965 0.33. Could you show me all the numbers that were used to calculate that number? That's what we're talking about. What are you doing? What?
There is no allowance on this print anywhere for a 21-foot wide driveway or a walkway. That is also to be included in the square footage.
Yeah, it shows the print right on the side of that garage there.
Not on
It
one.
has to show, Chris, it has to show the total square footage. The information has been coming in piecemeal. And I would just like to get all the information at one time, because there's so many permits that we deal with, it's hard for us to go and pick through this and pick through that. We prefer to have one set that fully explains everything. As Pete said, with the driveway, with the walkway, with the stairs, anything that is not grass is coverage.
Well, I know that. That's what was said at the last meeting, and it shows the driveway on there. They wanted to know that the driveway was.
Here's the concern, Chris. There is no provision for that on the drawing that says the house is X number of square feet, the driveway is X number of square feet, the walk is X number of square feet. Those are the responsibility of either you or Roger to put that together and get it to us. So, we just don't have all the information. So, I don't want to spend a bunch of time today when it would be much easier if you want to meet with Roger and I, that's fine. And I'll just go through everything that we need. You guys can get it all together, get it on paper, and then come back to us, and we should be able to deal with it at that point in time.
And Larry, do you have the plan that Joy was referring to that shows the old house?
No, I don't.
So you need that.
Joy, did Deanna send that out to us, or was that a hard copy?
It was a hard copy, I think, that came in the BZA packet.
Okay. No, I don't have that, Pete.
No, but I sent that when I first submitted these plans. I sent that old where the old house was at.
Right, Chris. But like I said, we need everything to be in a package. It's really not our responsibility to go through and pick and choose what is for this particular part of the project. You guys just need to provide fully to us the information in one package, whatever you want to call it. If you submitted that, it was probably before you had the septic permit and the house layout and the other things. And that's what we need. We need it all together. And Roger's certainly capable of doing that for you and getting it to us. Okay?
Okay, I'll call Roger again
Okay. But
I gotta know
before you come
everything
back, make sure that Roger and or you get a hold of me and we'll meet so that we don't have to go through this again. I know you want to get started. We want to get it off our plate. So, let's just get working on it this week so we can get it moving forward.
All right, are you going to call Roger or do you want me to?
I talked to Roger last week. You can call him. I mean, he's your architect. You're paying him. But I mean, I just spoke to him last week on other business, and I brought up your job. So I will certainly call him, but he's not working for me. I can't really spend your money.
I know, but if I got to, if I got to go there with you or you want to talk to him, I got to know everything you need. I got no problem giving you what you need, but I just have to know what it is.
This is Chris, and so it's regarding Mr. Cleary specifically, but we have a few of these, and they've turned out to be things that carry on, and some of them turn into legal matters. And this is probably a good jumping off point to point out that the town ordinances and the packets provide what everything is needed. My strong suggestion to this commission is going to be to never, ever, ever again put something on the agenda or consider it unless the packet is deemed complete and that's communicated. Now, I know you try to accommodate and do those things, and I understand, but this is a good example. And Mr. Cleary has appeared here, and I know he's frustrated, and perhaps he needs to contact his architect and those to make sure they're in order. But unless I'm wrong, in addition to all of these meetings that you guys have spent and the time that you've spent on it, our information packets and the town ordinances indicate what is needed.
I think we have a motion and a second to take this off the agenda until we have a complete packet. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry, Joe Jagman,
No,
Bob,
Aye.
Pete,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Joy,
Yes,
Larry, yes. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yeas, 1 nay. Okay, so Chris, get a hold of Roger and then set a time up with me so that you guys can get your information over to me and we can make sure that you're prepared. Okay?
Okay.
Thanks. Number 8, now you guys may have talked about this 2410 at the last meeting. We were still waiting for the natural ordinary high water mark delineation. Lou, you haven't seen that, have you?
No, not at all.
Okay. So that's nothing we can do about that one. Oakenwald and Hazeltine. I got a call from, or pardon me, a text from Eric. I can't remember how you pronounce his last name, from Eld, and wanted to meet me there to go over this outdoor shed, pool shack, whatever. And I understand Heidi has given us some drawings. I don't mind, I certainly don't mind doing that. But Bob, I know you had said at one point in time that wasn't even on the drawings because they weren't going to do anything with it.
That's correct.
Right. That's what I thought. So I guess I'm going to ask you guys, what's our remedy? Is our remedy just to send them to the BZA because it wasn't on the drawings?
At the last meeting, this item will carry over to the next meeting as a motion to insist that the homeowner needs to go to the BZA within the next month regarding the increase in volume of the shed or face citations. Was a 3-to-1 vote, failing to garner a majority of the commission members. I'd like to make a motion again that we insist that within the next month they go to the BZA to get this moving, because this has been going on for way too long.
All right. I will, Lou, have you conveyed that to him?
Well, that's my motion, so it either needs a second and a vote or come up with.
Oh, I thought you already did it last meeting.
No, unfortunately, it failed. We needed a majority, and a majority of the whole membership of the committee.
All right.
So I'm making that motion again.
All right.
I'll second Joy.
Any further discussion?
I just have a general question. Has this thing been built according to the plans that were originally submitted, other than the shed, in terms of size and all that stuff?
Everything else did seem to conform. And my personal opinion is we made a mistake allowing them to increase the volume of the house, but that's water over the dam. But my feeling is just because we made a mistake in letting them increase the volume of the house doesn't mean we should compound that mistake by letting them increase the volume of the shed.
And we let them increase the volume of the house I know that they have setback issues on Hazeltine. How did we come up with the authority to increase the volume of the house when they have a setback that wasn't corrected?
We shouldn't
Well,
have.
it was originally to be, and that's, I think, Pete, what you had said, or somebody mentioned earlier, or maybe it was Chris. Some of these things start out as a renovation, and the reality is it's a new house. And that's really what happened here. And there's, I think, Bob, you're talking about the roof height, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So,
Okay, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but that's,
I understand.
I just withdraw my comments, but they're still valid. But in this particular case, they have a home which currently is within a setback, a portion of it on Hazeltine. So if they're to build something new, that has to be the foundation for it. That this is a non-conforming structure, and they want to increase the volume of something, which is the shed. So that's what's got to be approved if somebody's going to approve it.
Okay.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
I don't know. I was just trying to think of a compromise, and maybe there isn't one, but I was thinking that the issue is the height of that shed, because it doesn't look that great, and it's right above the wall. If they lowered the height of the shed so it'd be at the same height of the brick wall, and it wouldn't be that noticeable, is that a compromise that anybody would buy?
Joe, I don't know. As I've often said, we're black and white. The BZA is the only one that could do any interpretation. So, everybody else can make a comment about it, but, if we were to do something, and Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, if we were to do something outside of the ordinances, would that sets a precedent, correct?
Well, I would make two comments. One, you have zero authority to grant any variances yourself, except for anything that might provide leeway. So the requirements are the requirements. And number two, and this is important, is being uniform in doing this. And while there might not be precedents, we certainly, you've always said it best. Your job's to interpret and enforce those and allow it within the parameters,
Right.
and anything outside of that needs to go to the BZA, and it needs to be uniformly done for every project every time.
Right.
And this structure,
All right,
this structure was not on the original plan. Therefore, it's currently a violation, the whole thing. Height, anything. So any resolution of this is really in the hands of the BZA. And that's because, as I said, this is a non-conforming structure, which is, I don't know how many times, but at least it is in the setback on Hazeltine. So that makes it non-conforming. So this is a new thing that can be allowed or disallowed, but not by us.
Right, but we do need to insist that it go to the BZA within the next month, because right now it is in violation, unless we want to issue a citation. And my feeling was we need to say, you built something that wasn't on the plan. We'll give you a month to go to the BZA, but if you don't do it, we're going to start, issuing daily citations.
Okay. And that's your motion, right, Bob?
Let me
Yes.
ask one other question. And maybe I'm getting daffy, but I thought I saw some emails from Heidi or somebody in her organization that said that they had a conversation with Lou about this while they were building it. Is that correct, Lou?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It is the responsibility of the contractor homeowner to meet all the rules. Even if we give them bad advice, the ultimate resolution and the responsibility sits on the homeowner.
Okay, fine.
Okay. this is on Bob's motion to insist that they have to go to the BZA within the next 30 days. Joe Jogman,
Yes.
Bob LeMay,
Yes.
Pete Byvotes,
Yes.
John Coker.
A quick question, I'll vote yes, but how much higher is that shed than the regulations allow?
I'm taking a stab at it. It's probably 3 feet over the top of that wall.
I mean, it's 3 feet exceeds the height that you can legally build one?
No, John, it was actually that the shed was not on the drawings
Trying
originally.
to understand that. There was an old shed there, but they took that down and put this new one up, and it's taller than the old shed, correct?
Right.
Right.
Joy,
Yes.
Larry, yes. So we're good to go here. No nays. I can't believe Joe didn't take a stab at us there. All right.
Next time.
2101 Lakeshore Drive. It's tear down an existing residence, the brick residence on the southeast corner, and build a new one. They've sent us several renditions of the drawings. In the last ones they sent, the only thing, it was conforming except for I have to go over this corner. You know, it requires the 30-foot view from the corner. And I think we have to make sure that that's okay. Other than that, I didn't see anything else that was, after they corrected the drawings, that was wrong,
Okay.
unless somebody else did.
Can I have 2 questions? One, is the drawing that we're using now, the last one we got, I wanted to make sure I'm up to speed. Is it the 12/15, 2021? Is that the drawing, the last drawing we got, Larry? Do you know?
No, they sent one, I think it was 2 weeks ago.
But did you look at, I know we've been getting things, people send a lot of stuff. I looked at the diagram and the one of the many sheets they have on the A1, and it shows that, and the A1 looks like it's one that gives you the front view and the side view and everything else. And it says on here 12/15. And I think that's the last one, but we don't know for sure. We don't have a date of the last, it doesn't matter when we got it. I'm thinking of the last time, last iteration from them. So I'm just curious to know what that is. And then number 2, Larry, you got to, I think, and I'm not sure, you threw out the number 30. You got to remember that this is on Lakeshore Drive, and I think that number's 15.
No, not on a corner lot, Joe. On a corner lot, the visibility has to be 30. It's not a setback like the other setbacks are. It's so that you don't block the view for cars coming back and forth on the street.
So explain that to me then. What is the difference? So, because on this one, just so we're clear, I think I understand that because it's a corner lot, this is the ordinance that I thought applied, that Lakeshore Drive and Avondale are both considered use the 15-foot setback. They both have to have the same setback because they both address the street. Am I correct on that?
Right, but this is not a setback. This is a view.
No, Larry, I understand. I'm just trying to build. Okay, so it's got to be 15 feet on each side. Okay, front, Avondale and Lakeshore Drive. We agree that that 15 foot applies.
Just for the setback. It has nothing to do with the view.
I understand. Please be patient with me. All right, but all I'm asking you now, if you're asking for a 30-foot view, how does that, so you can't put the house, how do I envision that? I can't put the house within 30 feet, or how do I stop from a 30-foot view?
Well, let's not review the ordinances here.
Okay,
Anybody else have any questions on this? No?
okay.
Do we have a motion to approve it?
I think this is just a preview. We got,
Is that what this one was?
yeah.
Joe's got me goofy over here.
Yeah, they still.
It's a plan review?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then
Yeah,
I'll
okay.
get a hold of Brunel and tell him that, that he, from our, I should say, my perusal, that he's met all the requirements that we would have, or that I think we have. That doesn't mean he's going to guarantee to get a permit, though.
So now let me ask you the question I was going to ask earlier about a general topic, plan review. Okay, this was a plan review. What is his next step? What is he supposed to do next?
And then a permit.
Apply for a permit.
So he has to turn around and resubmit everything, anything and everything that he wants us to see that will, for a plan, for a permit application. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay, good. And then he has to pay the extra fee minus $350.
That's right.
Okay, so that's what we're waiting for with this then, would be a new permit.
Unless anybody else has found anything, that's was my questions.
Well, I did not see, maybe somebody else did, and I just didn't see it part. Height and the lot coverage on this thing.
Right. They had an issue with height, and they did have an issue with lot coverage, and they corrected both.
Okay, I didn't see the corrected thing, but
Okay.
if
I'll make sure.
if you're happy, I'm happy.
You know what? I'll make sure that gets sent out today. Again, I'll send out the copies.
Because Deanna sent out a PDF, and that's the one that I looked at, Larry, and that's the one that I interpreted to be for 12/15 is the latest one.
Well, sometimes architects don't change the dates on the title block when they do revisions, but it's obviously changed since he first brought it to us in December.
Right.
But I'll look those up and I'll send them out to everybody, because I would expect that they'll be in for the permit next month. Okay. All right, moving right along. 1302 Lakeshore Drive. I've got the wrong name here. It's not O'Brien. That is next to what everybody used to call the Liddell House to the east. And I have talked to Pat, and they've gone back and forth, and they had some height issues. There were never any setback issues. And their contractor had dropped the stuff off Friday. And for some reason, Deanna, I think, sent a note out to us that said there was a problem with the check. I don't know if it was not enough or it didn't get there or whatever. But this particular job meets all of our height requirements, setbacks, parking places, rear yard. There is some existing stuff in the rear yard that Pat and I were talking about. The city of Michigan City claimed back their, I don't think it was this easement, I think it was actual ownership. Pete, do you remember that when they did that?
Which one are we talking about here?
On Lakeshore Drive down at the west end of Long Beach.
Right.
The starting up into Sheridan Beach, they reclaimed all that land that was being used by private individuals. So near as we can tell, Pat and myself and his builder and architect this is what's laying there. It's hatched on the drawing is remnants of those structures, and they're not going to be they're not new. They're existing ones there. But as I said, everything else on the house meets the requirements, our requirements.
The site plan does have a couple of poplar trees that are going to be, that they're hoping to be able to remove. The town council is going to be considering whether or not to allow them to remove those trees on
Right.
Monday. Those trees are town trees and they're on the right of way.
Right. And I've talked with Pat and his wife, and I don't know if Mark, Pat, are you still on? But Pat, that's how I started initial discussions with Pat, was about the tree issue. And I said, as long as they are, hey, Pat, as long as, if the trees are on his property, he can remove them, but if they're on the right of way, then he cannot remove them. So we found that they're in the right of way, and he went to the tree board and requested to be able to remove those trees. And they denied that request. So Pat has appealed to the town council, which is what Bob's talking about. And those trees, although not necessary to build the house, they're cottonwood trees, which I think we all know. I'm no arborist, but they're subject to, when they get to that size, they can really, because they're, I don't know if it's lightweight or whatever, but they can fracture and hit surrounding property and or Lakeshore Drive. But again, that's not part of what Pat and the builder are asking for. And I don't want to speak for Pat, but I'm.
Their plan does those trees.
Pardon me, Joy?
Their plan does say to remove those trees.
Right. And that, Pat could ask his architect, and maybe you should do that, Pat, is ask them just to remove the note about removing the trees.
You guys can just cross it off right now if you want, and that'll be on there. I can resubmit the plans. That's fine.
Just the one sheet, so that, everybody's satisfied. But the house can be built with the trees there. It was really more of a preservation of the surrounding houses in case they were to go.
So what do you need from me? I can send you a new revised sheet on the front page that doesn't have us.
Yeah, it's a site plan, Pat. You could send it to me in a PDF, and I could send it out. He could do that pretty short order, I would think.
What address are we talking about here? What address?
20, oh, not 21.
1302.
1302 Lakeshore Drive.
Right next door to the Liddell house.
Right, and the Liddell house is gone now, actually, but it is shown on the site plan where the new house, the McNabb's new house is. You'll see that faint outline to the west or left of the Burke house. That's where McNabb's house is going to be, which has already been permitted. Any other questions?
What are they doing about the septic?
They're on sewer.
They're on sewer also there? Wow.
Yeah,
So just like the other guy next door.
right.
They're both on Michigan City Sewer.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Any other?
If you,
I'm sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
I'm going by you. If you say so, because I just I got this large copy. I only anyway. All right. I didn't get a chance to look at it, but I'll go by whatever you think, Larry.
Well, there's no reason why we would deny it because he meets all of our requirements. So
Okay. All right. Fine.
I'd make a motion to approve with the striking of the removal of the trees.
okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I'll second it. Coker.
Any further discussion? Joe Jagman.
I abstain.
That's the Joe we know. Bob LeMay.
Aye.
Pete Byvotes. You're muted, Pete.
I'm sorry, aye.
John Coker,
Aye.
Joy Schmidt,
Aye.
Larry, aye. Okay, so that carries.
Thank you.
Welcome. You're more than welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting too, Pat.
No, he has to,
Oh, I think he has to attend 3 more, doesn't he?
right?
And say 3 Our Fathers and 4 Hail Marys.
Thanks, everybody. I'll send you the revised things with the trees. And then Robert, if you could email me on the back on the meeting Monday, let me know how to handle that in terms of the appeal.
Yeah, you guys, you may want to attend that meeting on Monday, or your wife,
I'll attend.
because we'll give you guys, a time to talk at that meeting.
Thank you.
All right, Pat, thanks. Next up is Peggy Rose. Peggy, I think you're on here somewhere. I can't remember your address. You're muted too.
I am here. Thank you. Yes, thank you. 2810 Elbridge Way.
So what happened here is, as you guys know, Pete developed an ordinance for solar because we had a request from Carl Kowalski, I think a couple of years ago. And while we were developing that, he ran out of time, I guess, with whatever agency was going to help him fund it. So Peggy was the next one that came up, and the ordinance was finished, I think probably sometime in October, November. So we voted at the December 10th meeting to give the permit for the solar panels. So in talking to Peggy, this company, and I can't remember their name, I think it's Tron or something.
Tron Solar, Tron, Tron.
The company had, actually, Peggy, you might want, I mean, I can explain it. So the company, Peggy called the company, said, hey, we got the permit. And they set a date to come and start installation. And they didn't show up. And Peggy, maybe you want to take it from there.
Sure. So yes, and thanks for moving forward as you did with the solar ordinance. And so we did have a date scheduled, December 21st and 22nd. It was 2 dates. They rearranged a lot of things to make this happen. But they were scheduled to arrive at my home between the hours of 7 and 9. And they never showed up at all, despite I made repeated calls that day about it. So just thinking about the cost of this project and feeling as though I would be assuming a large risk with a company that I felt had at the get-go showed me that they were really not too responsive to consumer questions, concerns, and needs. I thought it best that I not continue with them. So I did tell them that I am not going to continue to move forward with them with this solar install, with this Tron Solar. So I did send an email to Larry last night requesting that my permit then be transferred to my name or to my property.
So that's why it's on the agenda. And I sent that email to everybody. I think it was last night. It could have been this morning. I don't see any issue with it. And maybe John or Chris, you can tell us. My understanding is that a permit runs with the property. Is that correct? Or?
Well, sure. And you can correct this now and just amend what you did and issue it in her name, right? I mean, that'll be the simple, if anybody thinks they're making a claim or that petition. I mean, obviously anybody else who subsequently does the work has to be properly registered, but.
Right.
I'm confused.
Joe?
I'm confused. They have.
What else is new?
Okay, well, that's the problem. They have a permit. I disagree with you guys, and then you're going to tell me I'm wrong, and that's fine. I just have to have my say. I think if we look at our ordinances and stuff like that, there's 2 situations for a building permit application. One is done by the owner, and that's usually done because they're doing the work on their own. And then the second topic is, second one is that it's submitted by the builder. And not getting into, I don't want to get into details for her if it's private business or whatever, but there was something paid for this permit. And we don't know if that number is good or bad, because we don't know who the new person is going to be, who the owner is. And I believe in our ordinances, we don't give out permits unless we know who the builder is going to be. Unless it's an individual doing a permit and they're doing the work. That's the way I view it.
Oh, and hence the discussion about any amendment. So to the extent versus her having to go through the whole process, provided that you're comfortable, I think you can entertain. I don't know if they're ready to move forward now, but certainly you need to make sure that the values, that what was in that application is accurate, other than switching out.
Because
you're right.
Because the issue, Chris, you mentioned something. The issue is kind of, and I looked at it, and I don't know if it was a mistake or what it was, but and when I looked at the number of the value of the job, and Peggy, you probably got the exact numbers. I apologize, I don't have them in front of me, but the value of the job on the building permit application was about $400,000. I could probably get that in a second here.
Joe, that was an error. It was $47,000.
Well, I'm just saying, no, wait. Let me finish, Larry, please. And I will give you the exact number, Larry. I don't want to give you a bad number. All right. Wait 1 second. So, come on. I'm sorry, fellas. I'm having trouble with my computer. And Peggy, I think you know what I'm talking about. All right. So the number on the permit application was $47,500.
Correct.
Right.
There was a payment of $500 for this permit.
Correct.
But then if you looked at the permit and you look through the information that was given, there is an agreement between whoever, the builder and the owner, and they were saying that they were going to build them for $95,008.
Correct.
So that right there threw me for a loop when I saw it, but whatever.
Well, it did me too, and I was unaware of that until I stopped in to see Deanna earlier this week at the town.
Okay, so what I'm saying is there is some confusion, and that's because of the other builder or whatever we're calling him. It has nothing to do with Peggy. She's just trying to figure it all out. But for us to give her, I don't see the value of what kind of permit are we giving Peggy, and what is the value of the job? I mean, there's just some questions right there besides other questions. I've never heard of giving them a permit without even know who the builder is and without even knowing how much the cost was.
Shoot, hold on. Well, a couple of things that I'll address from your comments, Joe. Unfortunately, now I can't see everybody again, but we do give out permits where people have not selected contractors, and it's actually I wouldn't say it's an everyday occurrence, but it could be a fairly common occurrence.
Right.
And one of the things that I explained to Peggy was, unfortunately, contractors pull this kind of stuff. They tell the town that the permit is $47,500, and Peggy thought it was, I'm sorry, Peggy, I don't remember what your number was, 98 or
95.
95. So what a builder will do is he'll bill the homeowner for a permit based on 95,000 and then pay the town 47. But that's actually water over the dam. We issued the permit and the permit's there. So the question here is not who the builder is or who's going to do this. The question is Peggy would like to have the permit moved to her name, and I don't see an issue with it at all.
I'm not gonna get into all of it. I disagree with a couple of things you said, and I go by the ordinances, and I can show you the ordinances, and the ordinances do state that either the person gets the permit, and usually they do it themselves, or if there's a permit, then the builder submits it.
Right. And
Whatever you
this
guys-
is what this would
whatever you
be, a
guys want.
person getting the permit.
But there's no way to determine what the fee for the permit would be. And that it doesn't make sense, but I'll stop.
Yeah, let's move on. So,
So maybe we transfer this over to Peggy's name with the caveat that if the cost of the project comes in higher and would require more of a permit fee, that whatever she's paid already is written off.
I think that's fine.
If I could ask Peggy, did you
Yes.
pay that, or did the builder pay the 500?
The builder did.
What's that?
Okay, Bob, was that a form of a motion? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Okay,
I'll second. Pete?
Pete by votes, transfer. Permit. Joe,
No.
Bob,
Aye.
Pete,
Aye, yes.
John Coker,
Yes.
Joy Schmidt,
Yes,
Larry Wall, yes.
Peggy, if you would, when you get a new proposal, would you give it to us?
I will. I don't know. I think I have to first finish out with this one here, and I don't know if it's going to be easy for me to just end it, as I would hope. I think that there's probably going to be a little bit more involved than that, so it might take a little bit of time. But yes, most definitely, I'll keep you informed. Thank you all.
You bet. Okay. 1407 Lakeshore Drive. This is more informational for
Larry,
you
can I just
guys.
ask you? Larry, I think it's 1409. Are you sure it's 1409?
Okay, whatever it is,
Well-
1409, 1407
Okay, fine.
is the Miller home. The architect is John Spalding. I had been reviewing with them. They had already been to the BZA for a height variance, and which they did not get. So they redesigned some things, and what's pushing them over the limit is their driveway because of the slope of the lot. He's had to do a switchback driveway. So it got to the point where, going over everything with him over the course of probably a month, I said, the only thing you're going to be able to do is go before the BZA. So that's their next situation, is to go before the BZA.
Was this a plan review, or was this a permit application?
It was a plan review.
Okay.
So what are they going to go to the BZA for? I mean,
Coverage.
how about topography?
Pete, I don't have that in front. They're not changing the topography around the house. I mean, yes, they'll dig a hole for the foundation and then backfill it, but they're not changing the topography, which is part of the driveway problem.
Well, when I look at the drawing, it's all these retaining walls. How high
Yes.
out of the ground when do they become a fence? And when do they become something else? I mean, I don't quite get this one.
You mean, are you looking at the drawing or the perspective kind of picture?
I'm looking at the thing on the front page.
Which is almost like it's a perspective drawing, right?
Yes.
Called cover page.
Right, that's right, Pete. And those walls are to hold the driveway up flat. Not flat, but so that it's not pitched. It doesn't have a double pitch to it. And I suggested to John that John the architect, that he consider a straight driveway. If he puts a straight driveway in, he wouldn't have to deal with the coverage, because I think the house covers 2,400 square feet and he's well within the 35%, but the switchback with the driveway, it increases him well beyond the 35%. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Pete.
On the perimeter, particularly the east and the west sides, are these, is this sheet piling that's going in?
They would require sheet pile. Let me try to bring the drawings up on my machine here so you guys can see it.
Isn't this the one that went to the BZA and the neighbor
Yes.
filed suit? Well, so that's really in the hands of the BZA, so we really don't have any.
Oh, I don't know that they filed suit. No, that's the O'Neills.
Oh, this is not the same one?
No.
Okay.
They did go to the BZA, Bob, but that was because,
Okay.
just remember, they wanted to be 70 feet tall.
Yeah, this is right next door to the O'Neills, Bob.
Okay, got it.
Guys, I'm sorry. I'm having some issues here with this, with my machine here. I don't think I can share the drawings. But does everybody, if you don't have the drawing, does everybody understand what the issue is? Pete, like as you said, with the walls.
No, I would like to hear what Pete has to say. I'm totally confused about all those walls. If you look at this page, I think that Pete's looking at, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like you got 5 layers of walls. I don't even see the garage.
Right, the garage faces east. So you come off Lakeshore Drive, and that's, what's called a switchback. So in order to get up the height without tipping over, that's why you see those walls. Every time that driveway changes, he's got to put another wall in at that elevation. Then when he turns back again, he's got to do another wall.
And then those stairs way at the bottom, they have to be in the, well, I don't know.
Do you need an engineering study if you're going to be pounding in those sheet pilings? And
Yes, Joy, you do. You have to have an engineer that the town would select, and the homeowner has to pay for to monitor the steel sheet piling work. And they're aware of that,
I think
as are the O'Neills.
as far as the monitoring goes, I think that something should also be done to, take pictures of the foundations of the adjoining properties. Because we had this problem right next to, what is it called? Long Beach Realty on the west end of town. And building across, which was basically something similar to this, where they surrounded the whole perimeter with sheet piling, pounded it in. The immediate neighbor cracked his fireplace. The guy across the street cracked his foundation. And
Right.
the three amigos let them pound that stuff in and monitored by the guy who was pounding it. So we need something that evaluates, if it goes through, we need something that it sets up the neighbors for potential. But my initial question is, these walls, let's just take the outermost wall. Are those things all going to be at ground level when they're done?
Pete, I can't tell you that because I can't see the damn thing. It would be at a minimum curb height above the driveway, so that you couldn't drive off of it.
I think Bob at the last meeting asked the fellow how big these pilings were, and he said, am I right, Bob? He said 36 feet, of which 12 feet would be above ground?
That's what he said, yeah.
Okay, so 12 feet at a minimum to me is a fence, which can't be any higher than 7. But even if the perimeter is going to be 12 feet above ground, that's not honoring the topography. So my feeling with the topography, as I understand the ordinance, is at the lot line, they have to honor the original topography. I don't think we've ever addressed the issue of how close to the building does the topography have to be honored, but certainly at the lot line. Because putting something up like this, as I see it on the front page, the guy next door is going to be living in Indiana State Prison.
Yeah, the sheet piling would be at grade. It would be cut off at grade, meaning at the existing topography levels.
That would be good, but that's not what this drawing appears to me.
The 12 feet that's where he's going to dig his foundation.
I never played an architect on TV either,
But did you stay at a Holiday Inn Express?
Yeah, right. But I just, front diagram may be doing a disservice to the whole plan, but the way it looks there, it's just a mess as far as.
It's a substantial structure. The driveway and the retaining walls is a substantial structure. It's, for lack of a better term, they're trying to tame the sand, to hold it up with keeping with the topography. And the 12 foot that you talked about, Pete, would be, the floor level. Anytime a sheet piling is driven and there's only one side that has fill against it, it's called cantilevered. And in our business of, when you put a beam up or something, cantilevered, kind of a general rule is 2/3, 1/3. So if you are going to be 12 feet above the ground, or 12 feet with the sheet that's only supported on one side, which let's pick the east side because I'm more familiar with that, where the garage is. So you're going to dig a foundation there. And in order to do that, you have to be below the existing grade. That's by code. And the sheet piling would have to be driven to withstand that. There's two options. You could try to pull the sheets after that, or as I have suggested to many people who are building on those lots, is leave the sheet piling at grade, which would meet the topography ordinance, and use that as your form for your the outside form for your wall. But this is by far from really us being involved. I just wanted to let you guys know, because I know it came up. I don't know if it came up in the January meeting, Bob, but it certainly.
What we said, Larry, was we said a geotechnical engineer to be chosen by the building commissioner needs to sign off on the project with a special look at possible damage to neighboring properties caused by the placement of the sheet piling. That same engineer must monitor the ongoing project for the same, and that cost is to be borne by the homeowner.
Yes.
So I would think before we could sign off on this, we at least need that preliminary report from our geotechnical engineer.
Yeah, I agree. And when you're talking about monitoring, I encourage, even when they were driving that sheet piling down on Lakeshore Drive, and I don't know how many of them did, I said, it behooves you to go and take pictures of everybody's homes, inside, outside, so that there's a photo before and after type thing. I know the house at Stop 23, the old Geary house, with the lot, the open lot next to it on the southeast corner of Stop 23, and then the stucco house. That's owned by somebody else. But at the time when they were putting in, I don't know if it was Salmon's or Mike Gorman's house, they were driving steel sheet piling, and the owner in the tile house, the stucco house, said that, there was cracks and some damage done there. Yeah. And obviously that's a civil matter, so we weren't involved in it. And I would certainly encourage anybody that was going to do that to do the same, in addition to us naming, whoever we want to be the engineer.
But I just, I know that I understand your issue rightly about the driveway and the square footage. My concern is when this is done, you know, what does it look like from honoring the topography and not exceeding any kind of fence ordinance? Because sheep piling can easily be a fence.
Right.
In my opinion, it is. So I would like to see a drawing that shows what this thing looks like when it's done, and get rid of if these walls are to be buried, fine, or whatever they come up with. But that's what I'd like to see. And if they're going to go to the BZA for more, they might as well go for everything, because they come back to us and we say, well, the sheep piling's not deep enough or too tall or whatever. Then they got to go back in.
I'll get a hold of John Spalding, the architect, and go over those things with him. I did tell him that they had to be, you know, the engineer had to be hired at the town selection, but the owners had to pay for it. And the O'Neills, enjoy, didn't you say they're right next door?
Yes.
They're in the same boat.
But from their drawing, I didn't see any exposed sheet piling.
The O'Neills or this one?
The O'Neill one.
No, but they're
Right.
having a big garage in their front yard, that's why.
Well, can I just ask a question? And I apologize, I'm totally confused. What are we deciding on anything, or are we just saying we don't understand it and we're leaving it at that? Where are we at with this? What are we talking about?
No, the only reason I brought it up is to make sure everybody understood where it's at, because I know it's been discussed at prior meetings, and I also know that they went to the BZA once.
Yep.
Okay, so then what still has to happen, which we've agreed, this is a plan review. They still have to come back to us with the building permit application, and then we
That's
can
right.
scrutinize the whole thing at that time.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay. Before we hit the spreadsheet, I wanted to talk a little bit about, we pushed it off, I think, in the last 3 or 4 meetings, an electrical inspector. I got a call from one of the code people in LaPorte County, and she was concerned that somebody had called for a final inspection, and she said, we don't do final inspections. We do a rough-in inspection, and then they consider that as, once the rough-in is done, that it's complete from their standpoint, rather than some type of final inspection or the certificate of occupancy from an electrical standpoint. So that being said, I think it would behoove us to get an electrical inspector. And, I know that we hired the one from Michigan City, or it was in Michigan City. And I don't know, Bob, what do they work, 2 days or 1 day and he quit?
Yeah, but don't we have an agreement, I think, with Michigan City, don't we, Chris?
No, it's LaPorte County.
Or LaPorte County? Chris Willoughby, are you out there?
Yeah, we have an agreement, an interlocal agreement, standing one with the county, as Larry said.
But we either have to get LaPorte County to do what we want them to do or hire somebody ourselves. Historically, Leroy would make a rough-in inspection, and then he would also do a finish inspection as well. And the county doesn't seem to want to do that.
And the difference is they do an inspection after the drywall's all up? Is that what the final inspection is?
A rough-in inspection is done before the drywall's up.
Right.
A final inspection would be done after the the fixtures, the plugs and the outlets and everything are installed.
Well,
And
what do they got?
other communities apparently don't do that?
Well, Michigan City does. Michigan City, before you can get a certificate of occupancy, the HVAC inspector has to sign off. The electrical inspector and the plumbing inspector have to sign off before Sue Downs comes in and then signs off over them. She's kind of the umbrella. She covers everything that these guys do. And right now, we don't have a plumbing inspector. And the reason being is that we have always relied on a plumber has to be licensed by the state. So in order to work in Long Beach. So I think we've always taken the tack that if you're licensed by the state, that you obviously understand how to do plumbing. And then Leroy did inspections for other people. And I think he was a retired journeyman electrical guy.
Larry, this is Chris, and maybe I missed it somewhere. We're not saying they're not qualified. We want them. Long Beach just has more requirements than normal, right?
Right. No.
And so I think the easy fix is if you send me that, I can quickly.
Okay.
County's very receptive, and their building commissioner is. So unless the building commission is inclined to do something else, because you get to hire those inspectors, and the county was set up so that we had a safety net there in case we didn't have anybody, and they're kind of at our call. But I find them to be very, it may mean that somebody pays, I find their prices to be a bargain, essentially, but it may be that somebody has to pay for 2 inspections, but what are they, about $50, right?
Right.
So
that's what they charge the town, and I think that's what we charge them, the owner.
Yeah, if you'd like me to do it, or if you want to participate, I can simply reach out and ask if there's a disconnect, or saying, this is what we want, and tell us where it's, but then we'll have to stay on. Who would have referred in this instance? Did we as the town contact the county for this inspection?
I didn't just catch the first part of your question, Chris.
Well, in this instance, has this not come up, or is there a specific instance that you would want me to talk to them about?
She just called me a couple of days ago, and it was one particular instance where the electrical contractor called and said, I would like to have a final inspection. And she said, well, we don't do that. I've already put your file away. So I think you're right. If maybe I get with you and we'll just make sure that we have what would be considered normal, I think, is 3 inspections. And I think
I also don't know if we want to have them. I mean, technically, the county is working for us, and so we need to make sure that our process is that we're aware each time, so that we don't just have people calling on their own, right? We want to make sure Lou's aware and that you have your documents. So maybe we need to just make sure the process is streamlined, and so that the county knows when somebody comes to them that it's at our request. So you and I can touch base, and like I said, Mr. Pullen's very receptive to those things. So
sounds good. I'll put something together and get with you this week, and then I can call her back, and I just want to make sure that I'm doing it according to Hoyle, so that we're not leaving any gaps open. Okay, I could tell everybody was real excited about that. All right, let's move on to the spreadsheet. You got 1409 Lakeshore Drive. Oh no, we just talked about that one. 2914 Lakeshore Drive. Bob, you're going to have to, since that's a job that I submitted the permit for, right, you'll have to take over.
Okay, so this was the permit for Line Mullins, and so the question that I have is the property is non-conforming. I believe it's non-conforming because of setback issues. I'm trying to remember this now, and so the question is there any increase in volume in this new plan. That, because if it, and Chris, you and I have talked a little bit about this too, and you had some different opinions on it. So we need to discuss it. So if it's a non-conforming property, my understanding is that you can't increase the volume. But Chris, you had some other opinions on it. But Larry, first off, is there an increase in volume?
There's, I didn't do the volume calculations. Actually, Heidi did them. I can get them from her. And just like Bob said, so the house occupies 2 lots. When the house was built, it was added on to, I mean, originally in early 60s, most of that house wasn't even there. So then it was added on to when the setbacks were 6 feet on either side on Lakeshore Drive. There's plenty of square footage. They're not over the square footage. The section where it maybe to put it in perspective, first where the staircase is replacing a spiral staircase is 36 or 37 feet. It's on the drawing, which I don't have in front of me, from the east side, and then I think it's 70 feet from the west side, and it's I think it's well over 80 feet to the north, which would be the backyard, and then it's about 30 feet from the front setback. So the work itself is no encroachment. What puts it in a non-conforming status is because when the ordinance was changed now on a multiple lot, since they have 2 lots, if you were to build a new house there, or tear that down and build a new house, you would have to be 12 feet on either side, which still wouldn't affect this particular building or the staircase. So that's kind of the crux of what's happening. So if you look at it right now, if we were driving by, you'd see the garage, and then you see a section that's sticking up above the garage area. And that is to get from the garage down into the house. And it's a spiral staircase. And it's dangerous. I've been in, Bob, I think you were probably been there before too, but it's rickety. It's a wood spiral staircase, and it's dangerous. So
Slattery's old house.
Pardon me?
Just the Slattery's old house with that staircase? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you've probably been up and down that. So, I mean, and that doesn't carry any weight in issuing a permit. But so what they're asking for is that we build a staircase and then put an elevator in there because everybody's getting older. I don't have the answer for you on volume, Bob. I can get that probably, I doubt it today, but I can get it for you on Monday. But at no point does it approach anywhere near the 35%. So there would be no coverage issue at that point. Then which is the reason I sent you guys all the 5 ordinance sections that I believe that there are 2 that affect it, the ones that I outlined. The other 3 have to do with land and building. The 2 that I highlighted have to do with building only. So that's where we're at.
Can I say something now, Larry?
I think Bob had a
question. Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Number one, Larry, just to make your case better, I'm looking at the plans, and it's actually 3 lots, Larry. Lot 7, Lot 8, and Lot 9, according to these drawings. So it is on 3 lots, not just 2.
Right. I mean, the coverage is never going to be an issue there.
Right. Okay. But just a couple of questions that I had. And it looks like the permit is broken up into 2 pieces.
That's correct.
We're talking about the first piece. Now, the only question, and again, I apologize, it's probably right in front of me, but I couldn't figure it out. What is the height? What is the ending height of this parcel structure, whatever you're building? How tall
the staircase?
is it going to be?
It's the same height as what's there.
Well, what is the height?
I don't have the drawing in front of me, Joe. I can't tell you that.
All right, that's fine. And then secondly, just, and nothing to do with this specifically, but in general, we keep hearing more about elevators. And I just wanted to make sure whoever installs the elevators, is abiding, because I don't think we have many rules within the town, but I would think in the county or the state, there are elevator rules, and we would just like to be reassured, that they're abiding by whatever those rules might be.
Absolutely, Joe. And the state it's the IRC, not international, but the Indiana Residential Code, which is based off the IRC, the International Residential Code, that does have an elevator section in there.
Okay.
And the elevators, and you're right. I mean, as we all age, it becomes an issue. We've probably installed maybe 4 elevators in the last 45 years. I've been doing this 48. In the last 3 years, probably 3 or 4, because people are getting older, including myself.
No.
But I still look the same as I did when I was younger.
No, better, Larry. All right. So that's the one half. Now, and then I'm reading it and I'm not sure if and when. Is this going to be 2 pieces? Are we doing 2 different permits or 1 permit? Because 1 permit is for what we just talked about, the elevator, and the other permit is for the street. Or is it going to be 2 separate events, or what is it going to be, Larry?
No, it's 1 permit, and
Okay.
It's probably easier for you if you drive by there and look.
I have,
because that drawing that the landscape guy did has got so much stuff on there, it kind of distracts from what's happening. There's a driveway that starts at Lakeshore Drive and comes down and stops about 10 feet from where the staircase section is. So it's useless. It's on a very steep grade, unless you're have something that has 4-wheel drive. I wouldn't even go down it dry. So that being said, what they want to do is they're going to just take the existing driveway. I mean, this isn't exactly what they're doing, but it's a way to describe it to you guys. They're going to take the upper section of that driveway and raise it up. And then the lower section, they're going to take out. So I guess, Bob, in reality, they're lessening the coverage. Not lessening, they're reducing the coverage on the entire project. But no, it's all 1, Joe.
Okay. And because that's the second part, I assume, I didn't see it, I know you'll get one, is a street cut permit for the.
Yeah, I thought I could get it online, but we don't have it online. We probably should have Deanne or whoever put stuff online. She sent me a copy of the street cut permit, and I filled it out, and I'll go see Tom Dolph on Monday.
Okay, and then just as a comment, I saw someplace, I don't know where, that maybe you said it or they said it, that there's 6 parking spaces. I don't know. I could think maybe there are someplace, but there aren't 6 parking spaces on their property. I mean,
oh, sure. There's 2 in the garage.
Some of the parking spaces could be in the right of way, and I think that's legal the way we do it. And the only thing is, as it turns out, and I guess Tom Dolph and those guys would be in charge of that part. It's always where anybody, not your project, but any project wants to go beyond the property line into the right of way, and that's Tom Dolph's domain with the street cut permit.
Right.
Okay.
So this property was not non-conforming when it was built, but it has become non-conforming because of the ordinance change with multiple lots.
Right, that's correct.
154.134 says a non-conforming residential building or other accessory non-conforming structure in any residential district may be altered in any way to improve livability or usability of any structure, provided no such alteration may be made which increase either the size of the first floor area of the building, such as a building footprint, or volume of the building. So my feeling is if this change doesn't change the volume of the building, then I'm okay with it. But just like at the corner of Hazeltine and Oakenwald, if this increases the volume of the building, then I don't think we can approve that, but this would be a perfect place for the BZA, particularly about increasing the livability, especially as people get older. So I guess that would be my caveat. We need to make sure that this is not increasing the volume of the building.
I could get that from Heidi for you. You guys don't want to make me go to the BZA. They'll kill me there.
They all like you there.
And like we say, Bob, the only other thing we'd like to see is the street cut permit.
Yeah.
I should have that next week, but I'll get that calculation from Heidi, Bob, and I'll get it off to everybody.
All right, well then, in the interest of letting you get this project go, I would make a motion that we allow this project to move forward, provided we can confirm that fact, that there's no increase in volume.
I'll second that. Joy?
Hold on, I got to get a blank sheet.
Any other discussion?
Just as always, just my one comment and my one feeling of things. I'm never crazy about the things that we do. We issue a permit contingent on something else. But that's just my opinion, and I'll be quiet.
Okay.
Larry,
John Coker. Oh, go ahead, Pete.
Larry, does the installation of the elevator require any higher level approval, like the state or the county?
In a commercial building, it does require state approval. Okay. You know what I'll do, Pete? I'll ask, I'll call down there and find out. The company that would do the elevator is Mid-States Elevator out of Mishawaka. And they do a lot of elevators up here. And the last one that we did have to go down to the state. There's actually an elevator board.
And the last thing is, you're putting the elevator in, it's replacing the stairway, right? Or the spiral.
The spiral staircase, yes.
So you're not changing the footprint at all. You're not building out, you're taking space within the building, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so the only question would be, I think you've already answered it, is if the volume is only going to increase if it gets taller, and you said it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
So I don't see any, I couldn't see, all right, I'm ready to approve it without any caveats.
Well, I'll get the information to you guys. I want to make sure because I don't want to have any trouble.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. John Coker.
Aye.
Joy.
Aye.
Joe.
Abstain.
I'm an aye. Who am I forgetting? Peter Mack.
Pete.
Peter Mack.
Pete,
Why did you say Pete Mack? Okay. Peter Mack. I got it. Okay. Okay. Larry, I think you can take over again.
Okay. Lou, you're going to have to help me here because some of these are the ones that you and I talked about that I already have the numbers on, but I don't recall which ones. So
Yeah,
the 2023 Somerset, that looks like it's an all interior situation, correct?
It is completely interior, yeah.
Okay, so that, I'm
No
sorry.
change in footprint, no change in coverage.
Okay.
Can I ask now, again, this is a general question that I bring up all the time. And the one thing that there is some change with structure if they're putting in a vaulted ceiling. But I would think any job that's worth $100,000, we should get some plans. I don't think just because it's inside, I'd like to know what they're doing and make sure they're hiring the right people. Like there's bathrooms and stuff. So then we need a plumber. We don't push that too often, or we need the subcontractors, who they are and if they're registered. And that's all. I don't know. And I'm probably the only one again, and I'll just say it, that I can't believe I got 2 pieces of paper. They're just a basic application. It says absolutely nothing except renovate this, do this. It doesn't show me anything. I can't believe we approved something for $100,000 with no plans.
Pete, I agree with that.
All right, so I'll ask him for, have you talked to Bob Scartozzi at all, Lou?
Yeah.
All right. if you have dialogue with them on this, can you ask them to do some drawings for us?
Right, sure. So how detailed are we going to get? I mean, we did this with Big Four construction, based on the fact it was $170,000, and he came in with 6 or 7 pages, and then he was asked for more detail after that. So unless, if we're going to do this, it's not even in our ordinances to ask these kind of questions, regardless of the dollar volume. The thing is, what are we going to ask for?
We have a permit application form that specifies all the stuff they're supposed to provide. And it talks about providing plans. I don't know what the exact wording is. I have to go back and get that. But that's the first thing we set up when we started this building commission, that there's a certain threshold of information that they must supply, not just put your name on a permit and say, I'm doing $100,000.
I mean, that's where.
Okay, well, can you help me out and tell me where that is?
I do believe it's in our ordinance. I mean, and read the ordinance, and it also has a caveat, whatever else the building commission desires. I mean, so it opens the door to everything.
All right, so on this one, Lou, let's just ask Bob to give us some basic drawings of what he's doing. And to answer, I forget who asked about vaulting a ceiling. Vaulting a ceiling doesn't always remove structural members. It depends on how the house was framed.
Exactly, Larry. So let's just get a view of it. I don't disagree with you.
All right, so we'll get drawings on that one. Let's move on to 2534 Lakeshore Drive. This is all same thing. It's all interior. I think this came through last week when I wasn't around. Did Andy give us some drawings, Lou?
Yeah, sure. We've got complete plans here. There's no footprint change here. There's nothing's happening to the garage. They're simply adding a room over a room and not getting any higher than the existing building next to it. So there's no increase in height. There's an increase in height, but not getting any higher than the existing roof next to it.
And with all their lots, they're well within coverage.
Oh yeah, no, they're way less than 35%. I got those calculations here.
Okay. Has everybody seen this stuff?
It came in the email a couple, 3-4 days ago, 5 days ago, something like that.
Yeah. Has everybody seen that?
I have not.
February 8th, it came by email.
Okay. Well, everybody's going to have to look at it. What's his schedule, Lou?
They're ready to go. They want to start building. It's interior work, and it's February, so
right.
They want to do interior work.
All right. Well, how about we give everybody a chance to review this stuff, and maybe next week let's finish all these, and then maybe we'll have a couple other ones that are the same, and we can have a quick special meeting to get them taken care of. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
So my notes here say this was described as an addition. And so this is a room that's being built over an existing room, is that right?
Correct.
So it's increasing volume, but it's a compliant lot, is that right? Compliant property.
It's increasing the volume, no doubt, yeah.
Okay, but it's a compliant property, right? It's not non-conforming.
It might be on this. How many lots? I think it's 4 lots now because he owns that one that they just protected. So on the east side, it's probably 6 foot from the property line. It could be 8 foot, I'm not sure, but it's not 18.
Okay, so it is a non-conforming property and they want to increase the volume, right?
Well, you know what? I haven't had a chance to look at it, so that's why I was suggesting that we all look at it. And,
I'm sorry, Larry. if just to tell you, there's two lots, lot 364 and lot 366. So that's what they have on this property. And there's structures on both properties, which I guess is just people have said it's the extension of the house. Now, just for my sake, where it's going to go above the garage? Is that what we're saying, or where are we saying?
So it's going to go just north of the garage. So behind the garage from the street view.
So is that another structure?
No. It's on top of an existing structure.
Okay, well, I have to look at this one.
Hey, Lou, there is no garage down there, right?
Yeah, no, there's a garage.
Are you kidding me? I grew up partying in that house. I never went in the garage.
And then the other thing is, we're looking, I think this is the letter you're talking about. You know, maybe I'd like to see a little bit more detail with the numbers, because they're saying that the total usage of the property, and again, it depends how you treat the math, is 34.63, which is definitely below 35, but it's awful damn close to 35 or above.
Well, he must be only using the two lots because he owns the third one to the west.
Well, it's not on this. Well, we'd have to see, first of all, I'll go on Beacon and make sure that this is only one parcel. Because if it's two parcels, we got a different story.
It's all one building, though. I mean,
whether it's a building or I don't disagree with that. That's what people think. It's confusing to me because there's just something walking between them.
All right, let's give Lou some direction as to what we want. What do you guys want from the builder?
Well, if you're asking me, I would just like to see a little more detail on the number where he got 3,395.221 square footage.
All right, so you want to have coverage calculations.
Yeah, just a little more detail on that.
Okay, is that it?
And do we have a detailed enough site plan to show the nonconformance?
Bob, I have to apologize. I haven't looked at it.
Okay.
Well,
site plan shows two lots.
What? I'm sorry?
Joe, you got the site plan in front of you, right? It shows two lots.
Yeah, it shows two lots. And what Bob is saying, they should be 12 feet from each side if they had to abide by the ordinance today. Because there's two lots. I'm assuming, that's the thing, is I can't say anything until I double check on Beacon. I don't know if this is one parcel or two parcels. I assume it's one parcel. And if it is, that's a combination of two lots. And our new rule is it has to be 12 feet on each side.
Well, isn't that grandfathered?
No, it's not.
Well, it was built.
Lou, it's the same. It's the same thing as 2914.
Yep.
You know, if there's when it was built, it was compliant. Then the ordinance changed to require a multiple lots, a wider setback. So we want to see coverage calculations. Anything else?
Well, I want to see the site plan and the actual construction of the office and the exercise room. They're adding new rooms. I want to see all that.
Okay.
I just go back to we have a packet that people are supposed to submit with all the appropriate documents. And when we don't get that, we end up with these kind of conversations here.
Right.
Yeah, like 12 pages here.
Yeah. But none of them really show the nonconformity.
Yeah, the survey shows the setback. Survey's full size architectural print page, and I don't have it in front of me, but it's full size. I left one in your office, Larry.
You're talking about the plat survey, Lou?
What?
It's called the plat survey. I'm looking at a document. I don't know if they have the exact numbers, but we can look at it.
All right. So everybody needs to get and look at this. And if we find more, which I think we're going to as we jump down the line here, I think we could probably have a special meeting and get these knocked out after everybody reviews it. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
2600 Bell Plain Trail.
Yeah, I just a second back on 2534, please.
Yeah.
Chris, are you still with us?
I am.
How does this not constitute a grandfather clause here?
Quite honestly, I will absolutely spend whatever time I need to with you on this. I would be shooting blind because I don't know what the plans are, what's there. So let's do that. I don't know that what's grandfathered in general is what exists now. So if there's some non-conformances or those kinds of things, you can't expand them. So I would have to look and talk to you about your perspective, but I'll do that at any time you need me to before you go back to them and then request more information so that you can, have an informed message for them.
Okay, well, basically, there aren't 6 foot setbacks, but there's 2 lots.
Mm-hmm. But our code is pretty clear on when there are multiple lots and what that does for setbacks. But let's look at I will spend whatever time you need me to quickly.
Okay, great.
I'm unfamiliar with the lots as they exist and what's there. So, but I will spend time with you whenever you need me to.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay. 2600 Bell Plain Trail. As you guys know, I was gone at the last meeting. I'm going to have to call Britt and tell her she's going to have to give us some. Lou, you've looked at this, right?
Yeah, I have.
So the wood fence is the neighbor's fence was rotting and they put up a new fence. Is that it?
Yeah, right next to it.
Okay.
Probably 6 inches in between them.
All right. So then the same thing with the pavers. There was some broken stuff and they replaced it.
Yeah, but they increased the coverage by a lot.
Okay. So, I mean, I guess the reality is that I doubt with these two properties, they could ever reach 35% coverage. But so I'm going to tell her we're going to need some kind of drawing, which I'm sure she has or will get for us. And then she'll have to pay the fine of no permit doing the work. Everybody agree with that?
Except those things continue to exist. She put up the fence without a permit. We still don't know if that location is compliant. Is that correct, Lou? Or do we?
Yeah,
know?
we never got a drawing where the property line is.
So we need to know that. Otherwise, she's accumulating daily fines for building a illegal structure without a permit. And the same thing with the pavers. They were put in without a permit. Citation was issued, but we're quite confident that the pavers put her way over 35% coverage. She should be accumulating daily fines for those until they're removed.
Or she
I don't know about the coverage.
Yeah, Larry, this is Chris. This is one of she definitely and to communicate. I know Lou has made attempts, and especially after the last one, where to communicate and got ignored. Other than when I get back. So it's kind of much before we sent out that 10-day notice of we're going to do it ourselves, and that got her attention. And I'm not suggesting that, as you guys know, I'm not litigious first. I'm not suggesting that you guys drop hammers first always, but it's one of those that she has to at least be responsive and making some progress here because she's ignored Lou and puts him in a bad spot here of trying to get it resolved.
Chris, what would you suggest we do?
Also, I'd like to see a contractor. There's no contractor for the fence. I'd like to know who did the work.
It was Fence Fellows.
Fence Fellows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Larry's on the. I think contacting her and telling her
everything else is in place. There was a stop work order, I think, Lou, right? So, I mean, it's incumbent upon them, but perhaps to communicate, you've already authorized them to, meaning Larry and Lou, to direct me to send correspondence if that's necessary. So I think that if Larry is and she's had a good rapport with them in the past, and again, I know she's been out of town, but if we can get some response and get the documents before. So I think that's what you should do, is allow Larry that attempt, and he and Lou can direct me accordingly after that.
All right, so can I make a motion? This has been going on forever too. Can I make a motion that if we can't resolve this before our next meeting, that, daily fines be enforced?
I'll second that, Joy.
Joe.
Wait a minute, I got a discussion here.
Sorry.
Lou, you gave them a stop work order. Did they continue to work after the stop work order?
Yeah, they did. Mm-hmm.
And who's the contractor?
Two contractors, one for the fence, and Halton Properties is the other one for the pavers.
Well, why wouldn't we revoke their contractor? Even if they don't have it, they should be fined. I mean, I don't know when we're going to. At the last meeting, we talked about a procedure when somebody doesn't immediately stop work, that we would immediately begin a process that would end, or I should say, in the interim, would have Chris sending a letter and starting legal procedures. Did that happen? No. So why are we beating ourselves to death on the same issues? We have to have a way and a process to stop people when it just gets the homeowner in more trouble. I mean, what's wrong with this?
I agree, Pete. I don't understand it, because she had a problem before. Lou and I went over there and discussed it. We got it resolved. It's the same thing that happened here. I'm going to have to tell her, look, you're going to face fines. You've got to get, at a minimum, apply for the permits for these things, make sure these jamokes got registered. And then, you'll have to pay the fines until you get that done, until you get the permit in here. I don't see any other thing that we can do. I mean, unless we want to send Tom Dolph over there with a loader and pull the stuff out.
And just to be repetitive, that reinforces what I said earlier. A permit isn't valid unless we know who the builder is.
So Lou, if a stop work order is ignored now, don't you call the chief of police? Didn't we come to that, or am I imagining that?
Well, of course, I gave the chief the stop work order. No, I guess I didn't take it to the point where I'm supposed to notify him if they don't stop.
I think we need to do that. I think that needs to be the next step to avoid this situation. And again, I think we have a motion and a second to give 30 days to get this situation resolved, or else these fines need to be instituted. So I would just remake that motion.
Okay, any other discussion? Joe?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Pete?
Yeah.
John Coker?
Yes.
Joy?
Yes.
Okay, now, excuse me a sec. On this process of ignoring a stop work order, I want to sit down with somebody and write this process down and get everybody to agree to it. So who do I need to sit down with? Chris, you're one.
And I think Lou.
Okay. Anybody have an
objection? I mean, I'll sit in with you guys, but let's just get it done.
Okay.
And I think the ordinance, I'll do whatever. You guys let me know when you're available. the ordinances seem to be clear. We just need to all be on the same page on those. So.
Okay, so
And Peter, the only thing I'm throwing in, and I'd meet with you guys, but you probably drive you guys nuts, is I still believe in order for all this to work, when we issue a permit application, a approved permit, we have to have a builder on the permit. I think that's important.
Well, she's got a name on the application.
Well, I'm talking, she doesn't have a name on the original application that I have.
Oh,
And that was said earlier that we can give permits without the builders. I disagree with that 100%, and that's where this applies also.
All right, let's move on. I don't want to
revoke
rehash.
the registration of these contractors would require a whole hearing process, just like we went through last month, right, Chris?
Yes.
I'm
not
sorry.
Chris, but
To revoke the registration of these two contractors who ignored the stop work order would require a hearing, just like we did last month.
Yeah, we
right?
need to. They need to have due process on that. It doesn't matter.
okay.
Doesn't mean that you can't revoke building permit. But
All right.
I mean, ultimately, the work is done on that. So anybody that you want to address that has done work outside of it and to revoke the registration, you have to go through process.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. Actually, this is still with the attorneys, I believe. The 2300, Chris, the Moran, the whole situation with.
I actually have something in writing, and I have progress with Mr. Porter, and I owe him a call on another matter. So
Okay.
I have something from him, but I'm not ready for you. And ultimately, it'll go to the town council for approval anyway.
Okay. 2215 Chastleton. This is all interior work, looks like, Lou?
it is all interior work, yeah.
Okay.
The only question I had on what they submitted to us, which they did submit some plans, but whenever they put in caveats, in progress, not for construction. So that means they're not done. They don't know what they're gonna do. So.
Are you talking about on the drawing?
Huh?
You talking about on the drawing?
Yes. On every drawing.
Yeah, well, that's not unheard of to turn drawings in that say permit drawings or for construction. We get a lot of jobs in here that will just say permit drawings, not for construction.
It says in progress too, okay. All right. So you want to.
Well, nothing should be in progress until the permit's issued. That's not the same thing.
Okay.
But as Lou just said, that this is all interior work, so there would be no reason why we wouldn't approve it.
Including, and we don't know if they're moving walls or anything, any load-bearing walls or anything?
It says no load-bearing walls are being moved.
Are walls being moved?
No,
No, Lou just said that there are no load-bearing walls being moved. It says right on the print.
But I just asked, are any walls being moved? Okay, and again, a vaulted ceiling, we don't know how they're putting that in. Okay,
All right, let's move on. 2930 Lakeshore Drive.
so wait a minute, Larry, so you're approving this one?
Yeah, there's no footprint change. There's no
Okay.
additions, no volume changes.
Okay.
It's all interior work.
So Larry, okay, I just want to make a note. Fine,
I mean, that's actually how we're structured in our building commission.
I didn't say we're not.
Permits, pardon me?
I didn't say that you can't approve things, I agree.
So 2930 Lakeshore Drive. You guys had asked for some more information from the builder, and he supplied that to us. Was it last week, Lou?
yeah, I think so. I don't have it printed here, but he supplied details on December 13th, but we just got more last week. More detail to the commentaries that I got in emails. Everybody see that?
And the plans that you got look consistent with a $174,000 job?
That's a lot of work. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, 1900. This again is a situation where this is part of I think it's three other permits, or not part of, but this job has three other permits out on it. And this planting beds paver situation created a problem for the neighbor. Chris, I guess I'd ask for some input from you. I understand there's some litigation or it started civil litigation between the two owners.
Well, I'm not aware. I mean, we're not party to any litigation at all. So
Okay.
I wouldn't, any discussions between them or issues with regard to that will be between them, as long as all the other requirements are met and there's compliance. That's all I would have the town hang their hat on.
Okay.
So who's the contractor on this?
Wilson.
And the permit's not been issued, so he is not valid.
Right. There's another permit for 1900. The name of the company is Taparius. I spoke to them a couple of times. They were not aware that 35% means 35%. They thought that permeable pavers didn't count as coverage. So they'll have a permit into us for more work that will not exceed 35%.
Did we ever get the delineation of the natural ordinary high water mark?
Not that I know of.
The last
I
meeting
haven't
we
seen
said
it.
Wait. Yep, I think we did.
Well, he had two site plans. There were two site plans on this that he sent to us. One was, I think, from Edgewater, and one was from Steve Thate. So I had asked Steve to get it so it was all on one sheet, the site plans, so that we could see everything that they're proposing. I'm sure everybody has seen them, but probably didn't understand what, he was saying, well, this is what we're doing, and here's one site plan. Well, now we've done some revisions. Here's another site plan. We really need, just like Chris Cleary, we need everything on one site plan that shows what the proposals are. I don't care if there's 7 permits, that shows what the proposals are and, how they're going to go about calculating the coverage. As you said, Lou, this Taparius or whatever, they should coordinate with Wilson or the owners or whoever and get their ducks in a row. And it sounds like that's started.
So we're going to wait to do anything until we get one permit application for what they want to do?
I think so, Bob. I think that's the best thing to do.
Yep, I agree.
2016 Oriole Trail. I don't know why this is still on there. I thought we approved this.
What I've asked is, and you had explained it to me, and I don't know if we ever got information from him. This is that steel wire fence that he's putting in, and I don't know if we ever found out that that the opening between the wires would be 4 inches or less for danger. And the other thing was that the guy said the job is going to cost $476.87. And if you put it in below 500, you don't have to pay anything. And I looked at I couldn't see how he's, he says he got the wire free or something, and he's got these other pieces. So I don't know
Entirely possible.
where we're at with that.
So last month we approved this pending Lou confirming the location of the lot line. Has that lot line been confirmed, Lou?
Okay, so we'll take this one off.
So this is approved?
It was approved last month. So moving on to 21, oh, we already talked about this one. 2516 Lakeshore Drive. This is the Wilson situation where he had the gas main break. And, we're kind of in the same situation there with two different site plans. And Steve stopped in my office earlier this week and brought me a couple of drawings. I think it was yesterday or the day before. So I have not looked all the way through all those, which I will do and make sure that you guys have copies of them. Unless he sent them, Deanna, and she sent them out. Do you know if she has, Lou? You got to unmute yourself.
Why is he presenting work? His permits, his registration's been revoked.
He can finish what it already started.
Okay, have we made a decision on how we're going to handle that?
That's what I asked earlier in the meeting. We have to have a meeting.
Yep. Now it's time.
Has a permit been issued?
No.
Then no work should have started. He cannot participate.
Oh, yeah, no, I take it back. He had a permit to to repair the foundation. He does not have a permit to make this huge renovation here.
And he
Two different applications.
And this is Chris, so I want to clarify, and I think that discussion was had at that meeting, that he gets to finish, because you, in the interest of customers, finish up the existing portions where permits were actually issued and everything else is up.
Chris, I believe it wasn't clear because what you're saying, I agree, if the permit was approved, and that's why I said we need to get into a language. If the permit was approved, then I thought we said he could continue. But if there's a new permit in issue and it's not approved, I thought he couldn't do the work. So that's what I'm talking.
He couldn't possibly do the work because he's not registered.
Well, that's what I'm saying is, and he's not approved. So why is he talking to Larry?
My notes say he can finish his approved permits after he pays the fine. That's what we decided.
Well, after what, Bob?
He can finish his approved permits after he pays the fine.
Okay, and then during the time that he's working, is that part of his suspension or not?
No.
So once he's done working, then the suspension starts on.
Well, listen, I don't know that you get to have revisionist history and what the effective date is. So you made a decision on that night, and technically he's suspended. So that part of it.
Now, Chris, is that what you're saying? That because we said we should suspend them, we never set a date of suspension.
He suspended the night that we had the meeting, Joe, but he can still finish the work and he approved for it.
Can I finish first, John?
Hey.
I know you don't like.
That's enough.
I know you don't like my opinion. Thank you. But all I'm asking is a simple question. Because we said he should be suspended, I don't know that we said suspension starts tonight. That's my question.
When else is it going to start?
Yeah,
whenever we decided.
Well, the problem is you have to make a decision, and if he's not part of that decision, it's either effective that night or you're going to have another meeting that includes him.
Yeah, no, I think our intention was he was suspended from that night. However, we were going to allow him to continue work on whatever permits we'd already approved after he paid the fine. So he is working and suspended at the same time.
Correct.
And I would say that we should you should authorize me to send him formal notice. And part of the reason we waited was to have this discussion. My understanding is this, and so for you to consider is that at 1900 there were open permits, right? 3 out of 4 open permits, which emergency roof repair and retaining wall,
Yes.
pool permit, and original renovation permit. And then the issue is whether there's a demolition permit. So these are conversation points from his attorney, okay? 2516, demolition permit, foundation repair permit, road cut permit, and renovation permit that was proposed, awaiting Larry's review and signature.
The only permit that was approved was the foundation work at 2516 Lakeshore Drive. Is that correct, Joe?
That's what I thought.
That would be the case.
Now what?
Now,
Chris, what did you say that we're waiting Larry's signature?
At the meeting, the renovation permit, this was prior to any suspension meeting or revocation meeting. The renovation permit approved pending Larry's review and signature.
okay, so if it wasn't signed or reviewed by Larry yet, it wasn't approved. Because that's
Right,
the last
I
step
haven't-
in approval.
I haven't signed it.
So what I would suggest is, I see Mr. Perry's on the line here. Mr. Perry, when he comes in to pay his fine, which was, I believe, you on here, Tim? Tim, are you on there?
He's
I think he maybe stepped away. I will email
probably
him,
sleeping.
and I will have him be sure to notify Larry and Lou when that fine is paid, so that we can allow him to do that foundation work. Does that sound reasonable?
Yes. Yeah, I think that sounds reasonable. And I'll call Tim. Well, they'll be close. I'll call Tim on Monday and have him let us know.
Okay, if you'll take care of it, I won't. We won't bug him with phone calls. All right.
Well, I mean, he actually works for you guys. If you think that's better, you call him. I don't care.
No. Let's keep it simple.
All right.
You're in the loop then.
All right. Gordon Lynn. Arlene Tangle at 2311. Aren't they at the BZA now?
Yeah. Did you read the denial?
Yes, that's at the BZA, and trying to remember.
Oh, they already heard it?
No, Bob.
Going for a hearing next month, aren't they, Bob?
Yeah, I think they went to a preliminary hearing. Yeah.
Don't get confused. There's 2. This is not the one that's on my block.
You're right. This is the other
There's
one.
2 of them out there right now. This is the one that's next door to Anita.
That's right. Okay.
There's 2 of them, so don't get yourselves confused. This is not in front of the BZA now.
Yep.
So Larry needs to write the letter, and they should go in front of the BZA.
Because this was a non-conforming,
I'm sure it's a non-conforming lot. Those lots
and
are
they're
not.
non-conforming.
I'll have to look it up.
It's 10,400 feet.
Can you guys
Oh, it
hear
is,
me?
Lou? Well, then it's
10,400
conforming. Are they hitting any setbacks?
No.
Okay,
All right.
so it's just
Well,
non-conforming.
then everybody's, I'm sorry, Bob. Everybody's
Okay.
got to look at this. Let's put
Yeah.
this one on the deals. Let's get it looked at. And then if we have to have a special meeting, we'll have a special meeting.
Yeah, I think we've looked at this, Larry. I think we can deal with it. It's non-conforming because
I just have to write a letter of denial.
400 feet. I think so. It's just too
Okay.
small a lot, and they want to increase the volume.
All right. I'll do that.
I believe this is a Heidi job, Larry.
Hey, can you guys hear me? This is Tim Perry.
Hi, Tim.
Hi, guys.
So
Sorry.
Tim, yeah.
I hit the wrong button. I hung up instead of to take out mute. But I think you were going to ask me if Wilson has come in and paid his $2,500 fine. And to my knowledge, he is not, but I can confirm that with Deanna.
Okay, and so when he does, if you could notify Larry and Lou then we can allow him to continue to work on the one project we're allowing.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Tim.
We'll do that. Thank you.
All right, John Doyle, he wants to put sand down. I read every one of the DNR permits every week, and this has not come to the DNR. So there's really nothing for us to do.
Larry, does this work on his property above the high water mark?
You know, I don't think he sent any drawings.
Okay, if it's
And
above
yes,
the high,
yes, it is above the high water mark, Pete.
then he can do what he wants to do. It's only when you move stuff below the high water mark that the DNR has to be involved.
Right. And I would think even if they did have to be involved, they would certainly accept or want somebody to rebuild the beach.
Yes.
I'll double check with them and make sure. But my understanding when I was down there looking at it was that it was going to go all right by his deck area and the groins he put in there, which would be well, he's got a steel sheet piling wall another 30 or 40 feet in front of this area. So I'll go down and check that again, Pete.
And as far as topography, our topography ordinance says that Larry, the building commissioner, is the judge of whether something is altering topography. That's what the ordinance says. So Larry, that's really your call if you think topography is a problem.
All right, I'll take a look at it and then we should be in good shape. $2519 Glendale. Is this the other one that we were talking about?
No, this,
These guys are waiting for to get a survey. We asked them for a survey back in, I don't know, it came in October, and we're still
Okay.
waiting for the survey to come in. At that point, they told me they were, it was taking 6 weeks to get a survey done, but we haven't seen anything yet from them.
All right, so we're waiting for a survey from them. H&S Ficus. O'Neill, that's already done.
what do you mean done, Larry?
We approved it and issued the permit on it.
For what?
14.7? No, I don't think so.
We approved 1417 Lakeshore Drive?
Yeah, we did 2 meetings ago.
Well, and so
How could that be?
I don't think that's true.
I don't think so either.
This is the one with the subterranean garage, correct?
Yes, yes.
right.
Yeah.
They went to the BZA and BZA granted them a variance, but this is the one that the neighbor then filed an appeal. And so everything is on hold until that appeal is heard by
Okay.
whomever.
Well, then that stops us.
Well,
And
we
it-
never, but Larry, just so you know, we never received anything from them
Yeah.
after they were approved at the BZA. We never approved this property. Joy, I think at least you might agree with me. This was never
All
approved.
right.
Okay, yeah, this is Chris.
Listen, that's
Yeah,
good. I got it.
That's it.
Let's just keep moving along here. Goodall, he needs a letter of denial. She emailed me about 4 times in the last 2 weeks. So I'll have to get that out to her.
And then on the last one, Larry,
What was the denial for?
It was the height of the garage.
Okay.
They were connecting it with a breezeway. You know, it's
Okay.
that gingerbread house up on Silvertip.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And
Yeah.
there used to be a garage there and it was torn down.
It's volume 2, non-conforming lot.
So we've got height and volume.
Anything with setbacks?
No, Pete, I'm pretty sure they made all that.
All right.
26 16 Lakeshore Drive.
Larry, can I explain this one?
We already voted on this permit 3 or 4 months ago.
What we did was they presented a large project with the house, the swimming pool, and everything else. And with that project, they submitted to tear down the house and build a new house. And then we talked to them and everything else, and then they decided they want to put up a garage. So then they went to the BZA to get a height ordinance for the garage. And then they came back to us, and I remember the meeting, and we said, yes, we could approve the garage, but I said to them, I'd like to see the whole picture, because we're just not approving the garage. We're approving everything with the garage, with the pool, with the house, with everything else.
No, we didn't. We didn't approve all that.
That's what I'm saying. And that's why I'm leaving this. If we want to approve a garage for them to work on, but I think we should see the whole picture, so it'd be a lot easier, because we don't know anyway, that's all I'm saying. The garage they can do if you think that's the way you want to do it.
Well, we already issued a permit for the garage.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, so the garage can be done. They haven't asked to do anything else.
Okay.
And until that point where they ask to do something else,
okay,
they have a permit for the garage.
And let me, before I speak, I will double check if we issued a permit for the garage. If we didn't, I'll make sure it gets done.
Yeah, I think you're going to find that we did.
And I don't doubt it.
That's it.
We got a couple that didn't make the list here that came in before the Friday deadline.
Okay.
2608 Hermoine Trail is a bathroom job, 100% interior.
How much is it going to cost?
Pardon me?
How much is it going to cost? How expensive a bathroom is this?
$14,000 bathroom.
Wow, okay.
That's nothing.
Nothing. Jeez.
You spent 14 grand on a toilet.
You're Donald Trump.
Actually, John, I heard you have a $14,000 toilet.
Wow.
I want one that'll flush documents. Are those more expensive?
And not plug up the plumbing.
Yeah, maybe one with an attached shredder or something like that.
Allegedly.
Need one of those things that yeah.
I'm sorry, Lou, we're stealing your thunder. Go ahead.
So Larry, you approved this one? I just want to jot this down.
Yeah, 2608 Hermoine.
Okay, so that's approved. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, just for clarity, Lou, everything else I have after that, I have dates stamped on them of February 7th or later.
Okay, I got January 21st is Windows. That's 2300 Foxdale.
Larry, did you share that with Lou?
Share what?
The 2300 Foxdale, we approved in January. The
Well, if
7
we
that
did,
you had,
then
Larry?
we're done. That it, Lou?
Well, there's a pool job that I haven't done the research for it yet, but that's it for me. Yeah.
All right. What's the address on the pool job?
It's 2507 Shorewood.
And they're getting information back to you, you say?
I haven't reached out to them yet.
Okay.
Well, they have submitted information to us, right?
Yes.
Okay.
What's the address of this pool job? Sorry, my internet went down.
2507 Shorewood.
And how are we leaving it?
Because we don't have, Lou just got a hold of the stuff.
Okay,
It came in February 7th. That was Monday.
so too late. Okay. Okay.
That's the last one. In general, one thing I'd like to just talk about, and Peggy Rose was concerned about it, was she said, well, is my permit still going to be valid? And I said, yes. I said, normally a permit is, if we don't put a date on it, it's normally, if you look at the state, it's a year and then you can get another year or whatever. So I told her, I said, with the supply chain issues that we've been having, we haven't been, some of these people we could go after for additional permit fees, but it's pretty tough when you're looking at, I used to wait anywhere from 3 to 5 weeks for windows. Now I'm waiting 19 to 25 weeks for them. So I'm just wondering what the tenor of the group is if everybody is, okay with that.
So Larry, question for you. So is the simple answer that the termination date would be a year for all of them?
We have on our permit completion date, but when you look at the Indiana residential code, it actually has the parameters. And I'm shooting from the hip here because I don't have the code right in front of me, but I think it's 1 year. And then we made some changes to that, Pete, a few years ago. I remember we said, all right, we're going to go with the year. We'll give you an extra 6 months if you request it, but then after that, you're going to have to pay some additional fees. Wasn't that the way we decided it, Pete?
Yeah, I don't know if it was 4 or 6 months, 6 months or 4 months extension.
Yeah,
but they had to apply before they expired.
Right.
Yes, we did make some allowances for that.
Yeah.
But I just want to make sure that we're okay with this. I think a lot of this stuff is actually not as tight as they talk about, but there's nothing we can do about it. So I think we would be, I wouldn't want to start chasing people for permits, that they can't do anything about.
Yeah, we have enough work to do.
Right.
So Larry, what's the suggestion for what date you want to use?
Well, I think we just stick with what we have. It's a year, unless somebody is specific about on their finish date. But if not, we would fall back into the Indiana IRC or the Indiana Residential Code, which is a year. And then, as Pete said, I don't remember if it's 4 months or 6 months. And then there's also some language in there. If a permit has been issued and the work doesn't start within X number of months, then the permit is null and void, as well as the fees are surrendered.
Didn't we talk about a year and a half for some of these bigger houses? I mean, it's taking that long,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to have a vote on it. I just want to make sure that everybody's aware of what's happening in this industry. And it's not just this industry, it's everywhere. Okay, any other comments from the commission? John, wake up.
Motion to adjourn.
I'm trying to stay awake, Larry, but
I second Pete's motion.
Okay. All those in favor, I know, I'll just mark everybody as yay, right? I better go through it.
Oh, I want it to last another 30 minutes, or you're gonna
All right.
go at least 4 hours.
You better start telling some jokes, Buster. Joe Jagman.
Yes.
Is that an aye or a nay?
Aye.
Bob LeMay.
Aye.
Pete.
Yes, aye.
Joy.
Aye.
Me. Bob, would you leave the meeting open for John because he wants to see if anything's
I've changed my mind. Aye.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
See ya. Have a good weekend.